Thanks for joining me. Welcome back to my channel for episode 2 of the carbon fiber guitar repair. In episode 1, we glued the two pieces back together with West Systems GFlex 655 thickened epoxy, and then we carved out and filed out a little groove for the carbon fiber, which we adhered to into the neck with West Systems 105 and 206. 105 is the resin and 206 is the hardener. It's the slow setting hardener. Then the next day I had to go at it with this rasp for a while, and with a little bit of 120 grit sandpaper. Now I can take a little bit of naphtha on a toothbrush, kind of see what it's going to look like when I put that next layer of epoxy on there, and this is cleaning it as I go. I think I'll put another layer of epoxy over it, build it up in the low spots, and over here, same thing. But over here I noticed, well, this is really messed up right here. The epoxy got into the nut. We call this a nut ledge. Might have to work on this for a little bit, but then we're going to coat it with epoxy and wait a little while. Well, these were all the tools I used, all from StewMac. Nut file, rasp, this is the fine rasp, pillar file, scraper, and some brushes to clean the tools. Now, GFlex 655. For the GFlex epoxy, I'm going to try this here scale. Got the resin. .25. Well, we get the appropriate amount here. A little bit more, the hardener. And we'll have the exact equal amount, 2.5. 2.44, almost there. Alright guys, now I'm going to stir it for 1 minute. This is fun. See how thick it is? Oh, it's very thick. Holy crap. Alright guys, I stirred it up for a minute. And just in case you wanted to try this at home and you've never mixed epoxy before, I just wanted to warn you that as it sets, after I get it on here, it's going to start heating up to like 200 degrees. Some people have even saw it smoking. But the deal is, there's a chemical reaction that's going to take place, and it's going to cure together, and it's going to heat up while it's doing that. So don't be afraid if you touch your, like, if you throw this down and you go to pick it up and it's like 200 degrees. It's warm. It's too hot to handle. So anyways, I think this is the only area that really needed the thickened epoxy. I think the rest of it I'm going to slather on a layer of the standard 105 viscosity. This high viscosity stuff is thick stuff. And I did not need a lot of it, but hopefully it self-levels itself, kinda. So it looks a little lumpy. I don't know. Maybe I'll spread it around further. Maybe I should get a different stick. Kind of like icing a cake. Yeah, if you want to practice, go down to the kitchen and bake a cake. That's a great idea. I think it does actually need some right here. Yeah, right there. Right along the transitioned areas. Icing a cake. That's what we're doing. Just icing up a cake. Hitting it with the rasp again today. Now as soon as I hear that I'm hitting the carbon fiber, you can almost hear it. It's more of a high pitched. Now I probably want to slather on a little more. Either a little epoxy or maybe I'll go right to the polyurethane. But I'm going to sand for a little while first. Maybe use a file. The file I'll use is this here. Pillar file. Get things smooth, especially in this transition to the natural wood. I'm going to be a little more careful. Use my file and my sandpaper. Alright, here's the next day after putting on the 105 West Systems Epoxy resin with the slow setting hardener, which is the 206, and it's smooth. It actually feels really level already. It's got a couple air bubbles here. I need to get those out, and the biggest thing is that it dripped a little on this side. See, it was sitting upside down and it dripped, so it was kind of like that. when it dripped down and it left that. So I'm going to have to rasp that off. Big old bumps. So you'll see me getting a tool out and trying to get that little bumps. I'll put a trash can right underneath. Well, I don't want to scratch that fretboard up. But the rasper really takes a lot of material off quite quickly. So it's good for getting a little head start anyways, even though I'm not going to get right down to the very bottom of it all. I brought this file in from my garage. Just I thought would work pretty good on carbon fiber. I have a smaller one. You probably saw me using it yesterday. It's called a pillar file. This one. It's a little finer. It's a little safer. I was thinking maybe once I get this down almost flush, that I can take a razor blade to it and it'll pop off. But no, oh yeah. Yeah, it popped right off. Alright, let's get some sandpaper going and we're gonna get her smooth. After sanding it smooth with this block, I have 80 grit and 120 grit. I thought it was fairly smooth enough to put on a layer of the polyurethane. But anyways, I want to reestablish my holes and I want to dig the epoxy out of the top side to be my guide so that I can make it through to the bottom where it's completely covered with carbon fiber. This is like a miniature lathe tool. I don't know if you call it a chisel. It's got a little bit of a radius to it there. This epoxy is probably harder than the mahogany on this side of the hole. I didn't want to accidentally go off center, so I'm going to make sure I get all this epoxy out of the way real quick. Alright, we'll drill that hole. Bigger size. I had a feeling that brad point bit was kind of traveling off center, so I got a regular wood drill bit. I think I'll also back up the underside here. Okay. Okay. Okay, here's my Enduro-Var II. I've got 1 drop of white, 1 drop of brown, and that's the mix-all right here. I've got 1 drop of cherry red and 1 drop of lemon yellow liquid stains. Those are trans tint, color tone, and that's what I got. So I'm going to brush it on, and hopefully it looks good. I think it's going to need a little more pigment. Okay, here goes 3 more drops of white and 1 more drop of lemon yellow. See how that mixes up. It should be more opaque now. Cover up that carbon fiber. And a little lighter and a little less red. Yeah. A little less red for sure. A little lighter. Paper towel gives us an idea what it's going to look like. All right. Starting to look like wood already. Now it's been a few hours, this is all dry, but there's been a funny turn of events. You know, if you think back, or remember back a couple weeks, I did a short video of this. Right before I painted this on, I did a short video, a YouTube short, and the customer saw it, and he said, why don't you paint this whole guitar black? So that might be what we're doing with this guitar, is just painting the whole damn thing black. But I wanted to zoom in and show you that if you were going to go with a wood grain, this is what you would do. You'd work your way up to this lightest color. In between the dark colors, there's a lighter color. And you want to work this up to, you know, in the ballpark of that color. And then you want to come in with your pen and draw some little grain lines in there, like this. And I work better from the other side, so I'm going to switch to over here, because I gotta have my arm resting on it, kind of. So I'm going to do little, you know, lines like this, and make it look like the wood grain, and basically go over the entire guitar like this, and make these little wood grain marks, random. They can be dots mixed in. And then, and this is a Micron pen. You get it at Michael's Crafts. It's archival ink. This is the brown, dark brown. It's a number 5. I need to go over to Michael's and get me a number 1. It's got a finer tip to it. And so after you do all these lines, you start going over it with the darker color and build your way up, back up to this here brown color. But I don't think we're going to be doing that with this guitar. I think we're going to be painting the whole thing black. What a lot of guys, what they'll do is spray a clear coat right over that to kind of lock in those grain lines. And then after you lock in the grain lines, you can come in with some of this powder. After you get a coat of lacquer on there, and hit it with like 320 grit. Here's a Scotch-Brite pad. That'll give us kind of a 320 grit feel. because the powder needs some tooth to stick to. Is we'll start rubbing that in and spray a clear coat to lock that color on top of that there. So that's, you can work your way back up to a wood grain look. It's faux wood, but that's, you know, you need to get the airbrush out too and sacrifice a few gloves. But I'm going to clean this up and kind of end the video at this point, because I really think this guitar is going to be in the shop for several more months. I usually end my spraying for the summer right around now. It gets too humid here in Nashville to do any spraying, and I might even have to wait till fall to spray this, because I don't want it to, you know, lacquer will blush in high humidity, and when a black guitar blushes it looks pretty bad, because it looks all that milky white stuff in the lacquer underneath on top of the black, and it's just not a good look. So thank you guys for tuning in again. I'm glad you enjoyed episode 2 and you stuck around till the end, and if you keep watching and enjoying my videos, you might just see episode 3 in about the fall, maybe in October or something. I'll have this all painted up black. We'll stick the tuners on there, and we'll do something with the tailpiece. I was kind of seeing how the spacing was on the bushings, and it is Gibson spacing, but it's like stop tail. So I might see about modifying this back into where an ABR1 bridge can sit here, because I think his first choice was to have a less tremolo and an ABR1, but then I told him these studs are drilled out for stop tail wraparound, which is kind of cool too. Alright guys, we'll catch you later.